What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Rec Nation, guys. listen, today in a way of trying to get you other content that isn't the Fat Electrician. This is the 5 reasons you shouldn't mess with the USA reaction. This is on everyone's channels, right? Usually it's like Indian couple reacts, British people react. Now, let's see how this holds up to my point of view. All right. This is just, am I trolling everyone? Maybe. I don't know. But everyone's doing it. I've never seen this because I don't think I've ever had to see it. But it's just like one of those, what is it called? Like you got to cut your teeth, right? Do your time in. Let's check this video out. Let's see. You know, I know that these kind of videos are... I'm going to save my 2 cents until I see the video. And we'll react accordingly. You know, we'll see what this thing has to say. Maybe I knew some stuff. Maybe I don't know some stuff. Who knows? A lot of this stuff that's in these kind of videos is kind of outdated and subject to change and all this stuff. So, let's be cynical. Let's see 5 reasons you shouldn't mess with the USA. Let's go. I love that. I'm going to title something on this like so clickbaity. Because everyone's doing this freaking video. It's like, it's annoying. But let's cut our teeth. Let's dive into it. You want pandering? Let's do it, guys. Ready? Check this out. 3, 2, 1. Let's see.
The collapse of the Soviet Union in the early 90s left the United States as the sole superpower in the world, and it's never looked back. In all aspects of the world, the United States is indeed a superpower, especially when it comes to its military might, which is unsurpassable in its strength, technological superiority, operational capabilities, and power projection across the globe. In this video, we'll take a look at the 5 top reasons why you wouldn't want to go against the US military establishment. The United States Air Force is the strongest in the world, not only in the number of operational aircraft, but also in technological superiority. The country currently operates a total of over 15,000 military aircraft, combining all the branches of the military service, including the US Navy, US Army, Coast Guard, and the US Marines.
That's crazy in and of itself, right, guys? Every branch of the military has its own planes. That's absolutely crazy if you think about it like that. You know, and think about this: the Coast Guard has its own boats too. It goes the U.S. Air Force, and then the second biggest Air Force is like the U.S. Navy or something like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's like the third biggest, I don't know, third biggest Navy is probably the U.S. Museum boats. It's absolutely ridiculous.
As of 2017, the US Air Force alone has a fleet of over 5,300 aircraft, 406 intercontinental ballistic missiles, and 170...
Another thing, I hate when these kind of stats throw in nukes. You know, like all you need is one to set it all off. Like you want an all party, global radiation party, you just need one. And then everything else follows. So but those are just ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? Not IBMs. I don't know.
Military satellites, greater than any other country in the world. The USA has the largest number of stealth aircraft designed to be silent killers and untrackable by the radar defense systems of most countries in the world. Some of these stealth aircraft include air superiority fighters such as the F-22 Raptor and the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, heavy bombers such as the B-2 Spirit. In fact, the United States pioneered this technology in the 1980s with the introduction of the F-117 Nighthawk stealth attack aircraft. Stealth aircraft are designed to avoid detection using a variety of technologies that reduce radar reflection from ground, sea, or air-based radar antennas, thereby reducing its radar cross-section, or RCS. This revolutionary technology allows a fifth-generation aircraft, such as the F-22 Raptor, with a max takeoff weight of 83,500 pounds, to have a radar cross-section of just 0.0001 meters squared, about the size of a bump. Difficult to track stealth air.
So hear me out. Sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit. So the that what was it? Oh man, I fucked up. I went too far. Here you go. Right there. Right there. So this cross section, what is he talking about? Like, it's the same size as a bumblebee? Is that what he's saying? So like on radar, because I know nothing about like radar. Like I don't know how that works. Are you saying that someone looking for this plane would have it'd be impossible, or it look like a bumblebee on radar, which is, I don't think radar could pick up bumblebees. I don't know, guys.
0.0001 meters squared, about the size of a bumblebee. What's more insane is that the massive B-2 bomber also has the same radar cross-section as the F-22 Raptor. Thus, it becomes extremely difficult to track stealth aircraft. Even if the enemy spots them on their radar scopes, it's a whole other story to successfully track them and register a missile kill.
So that big-ass UFO thing has the same radar cross-section as the Raptor. How? That boggles the mind. That's for damn sure.
The whole idea behind this technology is to break the chain in which a conventional surface-to-air missile defense system works. It's the same reason countries like China and Russia are also hard at developing their own stealth fighter, the Chengdu J-20 and the Sukhoi Su-57, respectively. These aircraft will allow the US Air Force to assert its air superiority over any battlefield of the future, and we all know that control of these skies is the biggest decider in any war. The next reason why any country going to war with the US military should think twice is because of the strength of the US Navy and its dominance over the world's ocean, especially the Navy's supercarriers. The US Navy currently operates 11 nuclear-powered Nimitz-class supercarriers, which is the largest aircraft carrier fleet in the world. The only Navy that can come close in terms of technological advancement is probably the...
Here's my thing, guys, real quick, as I try to skip this ad. All right, stand by. I gotta get an ad blocker. But hear me out on this. Like, to me, like, the Navy, I feel like this is the whole gist. This is like the whole gist of everything, right? When you have a country that can throw ridiculous amounts of money, like sometimes more than a country's whole GDP, into its military defense budget, military offense budget, however you want to look at it, you get to have the tech, you get to have the quantities, right? Like, if you gave any other country our military defense budget, would they not rise to a equal level with the US? If, let's say, for instance, we traded our military defense budget with the UK's. We're like, hey, here it is. Here's this money. Build yourself a military. Could that be done? I feel like it could. Everything takes money. You know, and what's happening is we've been able to amass this kind of numbers and kind of not necessarily like the budget, but the U.S. is protected by both oceans and two friendly relations with Canada and Mexico, so we're kind of insulated. And while the world is at war with itself, and most likely with us too, our home base, we can still keep cranking out war machines. Right? Isn't that has to play a part of it? Like, we're not worried about getting attacked, like physically invaded. You know, so that's just my thing. I mean, we got attacked once, Pearl Harbor, but that wasn't continental US. You know, and that kind of kicked off the whole Navy. the whole Navy thing, I want to say. Or I'm not in control anymore of my computer.
Royal Navy of the United Kingdom, but they only have 2 operational carriers. The Nimitz class of carriers has a displacement of over 100,000 tons and can carry a complement of up to 70 aircraft. They're literally a floating small town in the ocean with its own airport. The Nimitz class carriers in themselves are extremely potent offensive weapons, but the way they operate in what is called the carrier strike groups makes these ships even more deadly. A carrier seldom deploys alone. There are always a fleet of surface and underwater assets surrounding them and forming a strike group. These include guided missile cruisers, a destroyer squadron, attack submarines, and other support vessels. Together, they project the power of the carrier and at the center of the group forward towards the enemy. While the carrier is carrying out its offensive role with the use of its air wing, the other ships are responsible to protect its flanks against any enemy attack. This combination of offensive and defensive strategy makes the US carrier strike group almost impenetrable. The United States Navy maintains 9 such carrier strike groups, 8 of which are based in the United States and 1 that's forward deployed to Japan. For over 50 years, this has been the principal element of US power protection, and the Nimitz class of supercarriers are at the center of it all. Despite this, the US is currently in the process of developing a new class of carriers called the Gerald R. Ford class, intended to replace the Nimitz class ships. This new supercarrier will be even more technologically advanced and is expected to continue US dominance of the oceans well into the late 21st century. The third reason why you shouldn't fight the US military is their massive stockpile of nuclear and conventional intercontinental ballistic.
That's what I was talking about. This is it's a moot point. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if this is even talkable.
Ballistic missiles, or ICBMs. The ICBM plays the role of the land leg in the US nuclear triad, along with the Trident submarine-launched ballistic missile SLBM and nuclear warheads carried on long-range strategic bombers. ICBMs are launched from ground-based missile silos, achieving high suborbital spaceflight, approximately 1,000 miles above the surface of the Earth. The body of the missile then separates from the warhead, which re-enters the atmosphere and free falls to the assigned target at hypersonic speeds. The US military currently operates 400 ICBMs from its base in Wyoming, Montana, and North Dakota. The LGM-30G Minuteman III is the only type of ICBM that is currently operational in the US. The Minuteman III family of ICBMs were first developed in the 1960s as a response to the Soviet nuclear threat. Throughout the Cold War and beyond, these missiles have undergone constant modernization. In the last decade alone, the US military has undertaken $7 billion worth of upgrades. The rocket propulsion engines, the propellants used, the guidance system, and even the flight control surfaces have all been refurbished. The upgraded missiles are completely different from its 1960s counterparts, except for the shell. These state-of-the-art improvements and modernization programs have kept the Minuteman III system operational for over 50 years with improved reliability that supports the missile's remarkable 99% alert rate.
Yeah, so I keep saying, the nuclear type talk, the nuclear talk. It just doesn't. I don't think it needs to be addressed because all you need is one nuke, and then everything else goes absolutely nuts. We all lose. I don't know. Is that a reason not to mess with the U.S.? I don't think so. Because there's no way in hell the U.S. is going to use a nuke again. I mean, think about it. We use it the first time or twice. It would take an act of God for us to resort to a nuke. I think that's why we've poured so much money into alternative tech. You know, like the drone technology, the satellites, all that kind of stuff, the stealth technology, so that way nukes are like the last resort ever. And that's for, I feel like everyone understands that, except for maybe a couple of countries that are like just red button happy. But that's why so much money is poured into alternative tech than just nukes. Granted, you gotta stay on top of the nukes. You gotta like put money into the development. What was it, $7 billion into refurbishing this ICBMs? You know, I mean, you definitely want to make sure when you hit the red button that thing goes off, right? That you want to make sure that does work. But other than that, yeah, I think that we're pouring a lot more money in maintaining fleets and maintaining troops abroad in different bases and different areas. And anyway, I think I'm just getting ahead of myself. I don't know. The thing is with this video, it just. Is it misleading? I don't know. It's not. It's not really misleading so far. At all. It's just... Yeah.
Latest versions of the missiles have a range of over 8,000 miles, which is greater than the diameter of the Earth at 7,917.5 miles. They can carry multiple 330 kiloton nuclear warheads, which is 20 times greater than the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Not only that, each of these warheads can be assigned to different targets independently. The technology is called Multiple Independently Targetable Re-Entry Vehicle, or MIRV, and was first developed for the Minuteman III family of missiles. So any country messing with the United States will have to deal with this awesome arsenal of firepower, which can be launched at a moment's notice. If it weren't the ICBMs or the stealth fighters raining fire down on you, it would be precision-guided munitions, or better known as smart bombs or PGMs instead. This is another big reason why not messing with the US military is a good idea. All branches of the US military use smart bombs in some forms or the other. These weapon systems are designed to be precise and hit a specific target with maximum efficiency. These bombs are so effective that during the First Gulf War, PGMs comprised only 9% of weapons fired, but accounted for 75% of all successful hits. Since then, for the US military at least, the days of normal artillery shells and unguided bombs are long gone. Nowadays, the military uses PGMs from air, ground, and sea. Precision-guided munitions come in various forms and use different kinds of technologies to achieve precise hits. A large majority of PGMs use the Global Positioning System, or GPS, of satellites to guide their trajectory to target. However, sometimes this becomes a problem, as GPS coverage is not always reliably available everywhere across the globe, or bad weather conditions can hinder operations. Thus, the Office of Naval Research, the Naval Surface Warfare Center, and the Army Research Laboratory have all...
Why were they studying the sun? Did you guys see it? Why do they have a picture of the sun? Like... Like, okay, I get it, guys. You have to understand. I'm taking the piss, as they say over there in the UK. You got to. It's too big of a topic. You know, you could break this down in different courses with each of these reasons, but it's like, look
across the globe, or bad weather conditions can hinder.
Imagine you're walking into the office of missile research, whatever,
under operations. Thus, the Office of Naval Research, the Naval...
Fucking Frank is studying the sun. I get it. The radiations. I get why, but still, like I'm just walking in. I don't know. Maybe the thing is, maybe I would. You know, remember, guys, I'm enlisted. I didn't see behind the scenes. What if it is like this? What if freaking Frank is talking about the solar flares on the sun and how that could play a part in the missile defense and missile launching capabilities during said time? But still, if I walked into an office and I saw this, Frank with a clipboard in his headset looking at the sun, I would be like, we're doing too much. I walk out. I'd be like, no. What are we doing with the sun on the screen? Take that shit down.
Surface Warfare Center and the Army Research Laboratory have all coordinated to develop the first ever artillery-fired smart munition that will not use GPS guidance. The project is known as Moving Target Artillery Round, or MTAR for short. The MTAR shell can be guided onto stationary as well as moving targets in both land and sea, using a combination of guidance technology. The best part is that these shells can be fired from the existing M777A2 155mm towed howitzer and the M109A7 Paladin integrated management self-propelled 155mm artillery systems already in use by the US military. The shells will also feature an extended range of 40 to 60 miles using rocket boosters to propel them. Once finished, it will afford the US military another potent weapon system that outclasses others around the world. Lastly, the fifth and final reason why you shouldn't fight the US military is drones. We're all familiar with what an unmanned aerial vehicle or drone is and what it's supposed to do. But in recent years, the usability of UAVs are steadily increasing to encompass all spheres of military operations, and the US military is the pioneering spirit behind it. At first, used only for surveillance missions.
Yeah, pretty much, guys. Pretty much. What, like, that to me is the real reason. Like the drone strikes and stuff. That's terrifying. You know, and the capabilities of that. And think about that. I wonder how many drones can fit on, let's say, would they put drones on a full aircraft carrier? Would they do that? Or would they make use of one of those just flat top ships? Not necessarily an aircraft carrier, but you know, what are they called? I've seen them. They're not necessarily as big as an aircraft carrier, but they're more used for like helicopters and or the other various aircraft that the US has. But yeah, if those, I don't think they're putting proper drones on an aircraft. I'm not sure. I would love to know though. But yeah, this is the real reason for me. Is the drone strikes and the satellites, and this is terrifying. This is like straight up Star Wars shit, man. Like they can see through houses and stuff. It's absolutely, what happened to my sound? Yeah, we're so polished here, guys. Definitely not.
At first, used only for surveillance missions, drones were quickly weaponized after the 9/11 attacks and have been extensively used by the US military in the war against terror as an offensive weapon platform. It's forecasted that over the next decades, the US is in line to purchase over 1,000 combat drones of various classifications. Some of them, like the Lockheed Martin RQ-170 Sentinel and the Boeing MQ-25 Stingray, are already in the final stages of development, and once finished, will provide the US military with state-of-the-art platforms capable of multi-role operations, ranging from attack missions to aerial refueling. Drone technology has reached such heights today that a single UAV can loiter miles above the surface of the Earth for hours, waiting for the target to show its head and sticking with impunity. This capability will allow all the services under the US military to reduce its dependency on manned platforms, thereby reducing the risks during future combat operations. These 5 weapon systems make the US military extremely dangerous for any adversary looking to get into a conflict with them. In a conventional warfare setting, it's almost impossible to beat the US military machine. That's why modern enemies of the United States are employing more and more asymmetric warfare strategies against the mighty US military. Despite that, the US military juggernaut is hands down the most powerful military complex in the world today, and probably will be for decades to come. That's all we have for you today, folks.
So, hear me out. Hear me out on this. What happens? What happens is when you have a well-funded, an insanely funded war machine, right? That is built and used more as almost like a police force. Let's just be honest, right? Keeping peace and stuff like that. Whether you agree with what I just said or not, that's kind of what fuels the war machine. It's a terrifyingly amazing thing. This is my thing is look, take the budget away and let's say give that budget to, let's say, the UK. I'm pretty sure they would become just as formidable. But granted, the US the U.S.'s infrastructure abroad cannot be bought overnight with any type of money. It's absolutely wide reaching. But I would say the 5 reasons that you shouldn't mess with the USA. Can you sustain messing with the U.S.? Like, what we learned in the beginning days of our conflict in the Middle East, right, is the 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 people that reside in that country are the ones that suffer the wrath of the U.S. because the terrorists use the civilians as human shields, and it's not a good. There's no conventional warfare anymore, And also look at the Ukraine. Look how much damage they're able to inflict on the Russians with their drones. So, and those aren't even anywhere near like these drone strikes that we got, or these drones that we have now. So let me know, guys, what do you think? But listen, I think these videos are ridiculous. 5 reasons you shouldn't mess with the U. Like, you know how insane of a statement that is? It's kind of like a no shit, but why would you? And if you're going to, you already have your escape plan. You already have your plan B. You know what I mean? Like, it's the U.S. war machine is a juggernaut, and not only that, it's the U.S. and its allies. That's the other thing. The U.S. and its allies. Very rarely are we ever going to enter a fight alone with no one having our back. So that's the other crazy thing. So anyway, guys, what you guys think about this? I want to thumbnail the shit up out of this video. It's gonna be what do we do? American flag. My dude obviously had a British accent. I'll put the UK flag up on there on the thumbnail. It's these videos. I don't know. They're good, I guess, for the people that are reacting to them that really have no idea. I mean, yeah, for sure, But I feel like this video is just making its rounds everywhere. And I feel like, you know what? I'm not bringing this video down. It's a well-made video. It has a lot of insight. But realistically, the reason you shouldn't mess with the U.S. is because it has insane amounts of money thrown into its defense and offense budget that cannot be matched right now. So that's, yeah. And also personnel and the specialty things. It's like, yeah, you're not going to fight a conventional war and win with the U.S. It's just too entrenched in that war. It is definitely a main cog in the war machine. So anyway, guys, much love. I hope you had a I hope you saw this and like, all right, fair enough, or like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you talking like that about the U.S.? No, I love the U.S. I consider myself very patriotic, whether you agree with politics is bullshit, but being there for the soldiers and individuals fighting for their country, I'm there for that. Anyway, much love, guys. Make sure you unplug, do something legendary. And what are your top 5 reasons you should have messed with the U.S.? Oh, man. Anyway, guys, much love. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.